Good day, traders. Edge with High-Tech Trading Analysis. I'm happy to finally announce the release of a couple of my NinjaTrader 8 indicators. I just did a presentation on my drawbar, the basic version and conversion from the NT7 version I had offered. And now I'm going to talk about another, let's call it a supplemental tool, which kind of goes hand in hand with the drawbar or with drawing objects, although by no means is the drawbar required to use this. I am going to leave it on my chart because it's going to make this demonstration much easier, but let's go ahead and add the indicator to the chart. This indicator is going to add another toolbar. If you happen to have the drawbar, it's going to add another toolbar right underneath it. And what this is going to allow us to do is very easily color and style the draw objects that we put on our chart through a single click. Now, as you can see in the bar itself, I have about 20 colors that are available. I have several line widths, all of the styles that are available, and then some additional styling features for text that you might put on your chart. Now, let me let's just clean this chart up completely, come to the end, and let's just draw a couple things on our chart to start us off. So we have this here. We have this here. Small here, and I won't concern myself too much. We'll just put a couple objects on here to try to demonstrate this best we can. In this bar, far left icon is an on-off icon. You can see that I just drew a bunch of draw objects on my chart, and they're drawn in whatever the default template was, or that is set up in NinjaTrader to draw them. Now, again, I don't want to concentrate much on the drawbar, as it's the same thing as if I elected to click on the ellipse and draw an ellipse. It's going to draw the ellipse in whatever the default template is set up as far as colors and styles and opacity and everything for that. So regardless if I draw it through my bar or I draw it through the drop down or I use my function keys, it will all work in the same manner. It kind of came about, long story short, if you listen to my drawbar demonstration that I just did, I had a lot of requests for a basic knocked down version of that cost less and didn't have all the features that were available in it. I got just as many requests, as this color style palette is actually a feature built in to the NinjaTrader 7 Drawbar Ultimate. And I had just as many requests to pull that out and make that a standalone indicator, because apparently a lot of people either don't mind using the pull down, or a lot of you have those function keys and F keys memorized to where you don't want to take up the real estate on your chart, or you don't want the drawbar toolbar on your chart, or you don't need it because you use your function keys. And you wanted the functionality of the color style palette without having to pay for all of the features that were involved in the Drawbar Ultimate itself. For NinjaTrader 8, I'm going to do that. This is a standalone indicator. The very far left icon is a turn palette on or off. If I leave that off, everything that I draw is going to be drawn with the default template you have set up with NinjaTrader. If I turn that on, and let's say I click red, and let's say I want it to be a line width of 3, and let's say I want it to be a dot, 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 and then I go and draw, regardless again whether or not I click here and draw an ellipse, or I click here and draw an ellipse, I'm going to draw this object styled and colored as it's set up in the color bar. Very nice additional feature of this. So let's just draw a couple things. And the next one I want to be green. And this time I don't need it to be so thick. I want to make it blue. I want it to be dashed. And we'll draw a horizontal line. Very easy now. Do I make it for you to draw whatever you want? Not only does this tool make this nice and easy to draw an object in whatever color style you want, but it also makes changing them just as easy. Let's say that I want this rectangle up here to be, let's just say that I want to make it red and all dots. If I click on that object, it now changes to the color that I have selected in my drawbar. Now I want the bottom one down here to be green, only this one I want solid. We'll make it 1, and we click on that, and this automatically changes to the color and the style that we have selected in our bar. I can do this with any draw object. Make that one yellow. We'll come across and make that one green, 1 solid. We'll come across and let's make this one purple. Okay, an additional feature of this, not only can you draw them with a simple click, you can change them with a simple click, and this pertains to both color, line width, style of the line, and I take this one step further as well and can change the opacity of the object. You can see that the opacity of this object now is very much solid. As I'm scrolling this wheel, let's look over here right underneath my cursor here. You can see that I'm plotting a number from 0 to 100. So if I make this 25, the opacity came down. If I draw this up to 90, that's going to be pretty solid. So now I can do the same type of thing with any objects that have a filled area region and an opacity associated to them. Want to change that to yellow. We want to crank that opacity down a little bit. There it is. We can even change that opacity down a little bit further. Or we can make that opacity 0. There's not a lot to it. And I say that is there's not much to it, but the convenience that it adds if you draw objects to your chart, for me, is incredible. Let's take a look at the properties inside the indicator itself. There are 3. If I scroll all the way down, this is all NinjaTrader's default settings here. At the very bottom, you can see in all of my indicators, you'll find my website located, and you'll find the product and the version that you're currently on. This is currently the 4th version of this that I've released. Now, remember, we're in beta, so as betas go, some things needed to be corrected, and I've had this out to a couple beta testers, which have had some good ideas for this, that, and the other thing, and we'll continue to improve the product as it goes on. If any of you are familiar with the drawbar that I had for NinjaTrader 7, I'm about to release the 30th upgrade for that product. It'll probably be the last one for NinjaTrader 7, and then I'll be concentrating strictly on NinjaTrader 8 pretty much from this point forward. But that had 30 upgrades to that product. Now, in the properties on this, we have the same thing that we had for our drawbar. We have an offset, which offsets the toolbar placement from the top of the screen. In this case, this is set for 22, and it's set there by default, mainly because I use my drawbar on and the color palette on every chart, and 22 is the perfect setting to place that just directly below the drawbar. But if you wanted that lower on your chart, you just crank that up. If you had some other things that you needed to that were above that and you needed to place that lower, you can place that on your chart anywhere you want. Then the next option is the same thing as the drawbar. The background and the selection color of what is selected is user configurable. So if you're using a white chart or a black chart or a blue chart or a purple chart or whatever color chart you want, you can format that to be aesthetically pleasing however you see fit. That's the only properties that are set with this. Now, that's in the properties themselves. Just like the drawing tool, if we middle click the icon in NinjaTrader's toolbar, the color bar hides itself. If we middle click it again, we bring it back. If we left click it, we bring up a window, just like we did for the drawbar, to allow you to choose and select what you would like to display. If you're not going to use any of the text styles, we can get rid of the normal and the italics and the oblique and the bold, and they won't even be in your bar. Maybe you don't want to adjust any of the opacities. Well, we can get rid of that. If you don't want to see the different line sizes, or you only want to see 4 particular colors, you can, let's just say I won't use gold or this one or this one or this one. We can turn whatever we want on, and we can turn whatever we want off. And then at the bottom, I have a select all and an unselect all, so that we can select all and it turns everything back on, and we can deselect things, or we can unselect all and it will turn everything off except for the on-off bar. And then we can pick and choose what we would like to add back into this. Very user-friendly from a configurability standpoint. Now, currently you can see in my choices, I only have 20 fixed colors that are available to you to use. In future upgrades, I plan on adding all of the colors that are available. I know there's more than 100. I think there's less than 200. I'm thinking there might be around 120, 140 colors that I haven't quite decided how I'm going to configure this window and fit everything into it so that it's aesthetically pleasing. But I do plan on doing that in a future upgrade. I'm not sure there's much more for me to talk about. It's, again, a rather simplistic indicator that adds an extreme amount of convenience to anyone that draws much on their chart. As always, I can be reached at support@htech.net, Edge358 on Skype, NinjaTrader forums, or my office line is listed on my website, www.htech.net. Thanks, and have a great day.